Peace, love, abundance, blessings. This video is about connecting with Kemetic spirits, the spirits of Egypt, who are called the Neteru. And the reason why I made this video is because I saw a lot of people vibing with that connecting with Sekhmet video that I made a while back. And I am so grateful that y'all are vibing with it. Sekhmet is a badass motherfucking lion goddess from Kemetic Egypt, and she is about invoking the divine feminine warrior within you. All right, Ashe. And the reason why I'm making this video as well is because when I have done readings for clients, sometimes spirit guides come forward when I go into their Akashic records and I let them know, like, yo, you got Anubis on you, you got Bast on you, you got Isis on you. And they're like, yeah, I've seen them come up in a dream, I've seen them come up in a meditation. And it's a time now where a lot of us are connecting to literally our Akashic records. Our Akashic records are the records to our spirits, including our past lives. And 9 times out of 10, if you see Kemetic spirits, they like to show up to you. They like to pick you out in dreams and meditations and visions. It's because you've already had a past life experience from them. And I know that sounds marvelous and all, but we got to understand something. Kemet was one of the first original paths and principles. A lot of us have reincarnated numerous times throughout the human world and human time and evolution. So some of us do have Egyptian past lives and Egyptian linkages, and we are reconnecting back with them. Now, the thing that I want you to understand is that just because you have a connection with the spirit guide does not necessarily mean that a connection with the spirit guide is going to make life super easy for you. It's not going to shortcut anything. It just means that you have a teacher who is reminding you of your truest and highest self and potential. So with that said, I brought forward the Ankh. The Ankh is the symbol of life, of everyday life, and this is all about creation, and every day we create life. Something that you can do with the Ankh is do a prayer outside in the sun, asking the Kemites, the Neteru are the Egyptian gods, to charge this and move this through your body, asking for recharge from the sun, asking for all ailments, illness, disease, disharmony to be removed from your body. And whatever Kemetic deities you work with, you can call upon them. You can call upon Ra, who is the embodiment of the sun in Kemet. All right. And I'm going to show y'all some texts that I recommend for y'all if y'all are trying to vibe with these spirits. The first one that we got is called Invoking the Egyptian Gods by Judith Page and Kim Blues. And I'm going to add all of that into the YouTube description. Then we got the Book of Doors, which I'm going to show y'all right now. And I also recommend to y'all the Kemetic Tarot. These are really cool tools to be able to connect with the Egyptian pantheon. And these beings are representations of nature, a representation of life, the underworld, and the afterlife. The Egyptians are primarily solar beings, with it being centered around Amun-Ra, who is the sun god. This is why homeboy got the sun on his head. A lot of the Egyptian deities either got a sun or a moon on their head. For the moon deities, we have Tahuri and Kohanto, and we'll get into them a little bit later. But Amun-Ra is seen as the sun. So whenever you're outside, you can call upon Ra to charge you, to give you energy, to breathe life into you. Call upon the sun to charge your body, charge your physical vessel. All right? Ashe. And these beings are returning to us to remind us that we are divine in our origin. The thing with Egyptian deities too is that, I'm not even gonna front, they bougie as fuck. Meaning they fuck with you or they don't fuck with you, they come to you or they don't come to you. You do not choose them. Let me repeat that. You do not choose them. They choose you. And 9 times out of 10, when they come to you, they ain't coming to you to just make your life easier. They're coming to you to remind you of who you are, your truest divine being. But with that involves some inner work that you're going to have to do, because one thing that I've noticed with working with the Egyptian deities in this incarnation is that they don't like when people, especially their children, second guess themselves, limit themselves, doubt themselves, or talk negative about themselves, because again, they're mostly solar deities. Solar energy is all about self-confidence, self-embrace, feeling like you the shit, feeling like you divine, embracing your truest and inner self. And this is opposite to the social conditioning and programming that we're in right now. In Kemetic culture, we did sun salutations, we did morning stretches, we played music, we did mantras, we sang, we danced to elevate our spirits. Now, in this society, we do the opposite. We sing and dance to tunes that de-elevate our spirits. We are in circumstances and conditions that make us feel lower than. We are told certain programming that makes us lower our own vibration. And these deities are here with a sense of urgency to get humans to wake up, to rise back to their truest divine potential. So when they come and they're meant for your path, best believe they come in very loud. They come in very intense. And it's not out of malicious, it's out of a sense of urgency that they have to remind us of who we are. We are supreme. We are the son of deities, the daughters of deities, the children of deities. All right, we are aspects of the divine manifested in human flesh, going through trials and tribulations to get us to rise back to the truest self of who we are. Now, I'm going to pull out some cards from, again, the Egyptian Book of Doors. Great oracle deck if you're trying all the deities, and the Kemetic Tarot. So I'm just going to run y'all a list of some of the deities, tell you a little bit about their aspects. And if y'all have any questions in the comments, please feel free to let me know. This is more of an intro. Very simple, very just easy to break through. And if you have had, again, visions or meditations and have seen these deities come up, they're not coming up for no reason. They can pick who they're going to work with, and they come to you, and that's really how it works. So first of all, we're going to show you Tahuri, who in some texts is seen as Hermes as well. Tahuri is a representation of Mercury, Thoth, and he wrote the Emerald Tablets. The Emerald Tablets is all about humankind, societal conditioning, breaking out of the spell, the illusion that we are lesser than, and reminding us of our true being. So Thoth is really good to work with if you're trying to understand things like sacred geometry, rising back to a higher consciousness and higher wisdom. Very good for those of y'all who are a little bit on the mercurial aspect, a little bit on the nerdy aspect. Homeboy is there for you if you're trying to study some stuff, trying to learn some stuff. All right. Then we got Hador, Heheru, and Hathor is an aspect of Venus. Hathor is represented by the cow. The cow is seen as sacred, seen as the sacred feminism. This also coincides with Hindu cultures and Hindu practices where cows are revered as divine and sacred. All animals are divine. So I don't want y'all with y'all Western-ass perspectives thinking that it's weird to think that a cow is divine. All animals have wisdom to teach us, all right? Just got to break that down. So Hathor is Venusian energy. Hathor is about self-confidence, self-embrace, being that youthful maiden. So in the divine feminine, we have the mother, the maiden, and the crone. Hathor is absolutely the maiden, being the hot girl, being the it girl, doing what is it that she wants, what she loves. And then we have Isis, whose other name is Aset. Aset is the mother goddess of Egypt. Isis has many paths to her. Isis is a magician. Isis is a high priestess. Isis also taught Mary Magdalene, who is the female aspect of the Messiah, a lot about Tantra, sex magic, alchemy, and inner work. The Magdalene Manuscript, y'all gotta check that out, because believe it or not, my boy Jesus or Yeshua and Mary Magdalene studied under the Egyptian pantheon. They studied under a lot of beliefs and methods because everything is connected, but the great illusion of colonization is that there's a hierarchy of what belief is more important than another, and there are all aspects of divinity, and they are all interconnected. I don't mean that we're supposed to tap into everything. Nah. We all have divine guides that are meant for us, divine teachers that are meant for us, both in spirit and in the flesh. And when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. So Isis is the magician. Isis is the divine mother. Her story is of her basically having to revive Osiris from the dead, pick up his corpses. Osiris is seen as the god of the underworld, but prior to that, he was the god of vegetation. Now, they boot things, right? But then Osiris got killed by his brother Seth because Seth got a little jealous that Osiris was celebrated. And we're going to get into Seth in a little bit because Seth ain't all bad, y'all. Let me just say that real quick. He is a necessary energy. All energies are necessary. But going back, Osiris died. Isis brought him from the dead, did some magic to bring him from the dead. She went above and beyond. Then while she was in the underworld with Osiris, she brought birth to her son Horus. Horus is a child who has to step up and fight Seth, and through a series of battles that are seen in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, homeboy is brawling it out with him. And it's, it's a coming of age story. It's about you moving into your divineness, moving into your warriorhood, having to clear up a real generational curse right there, yo. Them family battles. And we got to remember something. The stories and the trials and tribulations that these divine beings go through sometimes can be reflections of what we go through on a different level in the human experience. So we got Horus here, who is a divine child, the son of Isis, and he is also seen as the warrior. If he comes to you in this path, then he's coming to you to remind you that you are a warrior, reminding you to step up to the plate, reminding you to step up to your divinity. It's all about a rise to power, so rising into your own inner power. Isis comes as the divine mother, the sacred feminine, telling you to honor the divine feminine within you. I'm also hearing rivers, the sacred waters. What you can do if you have a piece of the crystal lapis lazuli is call upon Aset, call upon Isis, pray to Isis to bring in wisdom through the lapis lazuli. The lapis lazuli affects the 3 upper chakras, the throat, the third eye, and the crown, and she can give you some cool ass messages, downloads, and symbols. So then we got Seth, who was seen as the evil uncle who Horus had to fight, who killed Osiris. And what we got to understand is that the Netheru are aspects of nature. So Seth is when, things ain't going well. Vegetations ain't growing. Things are kind of dark. There's tornadoes. There's storms. People see Seth as evil, but we got to understand that creation needs destruction. Without destruction, there is no creation. Without bad times, there is no definition of what good times are. Without light, there is no darkness. Without darkness, there is no light. So Seth is important, and he is still a spirit guide that comes up for people. He's not just a villain. He is a spirit guide. Yes, he is the energy of intensity of destruction, but there's times and places where destruction is necessary. Destruction from the ego, destruction from attachments to what people think, destructions from this 3D matrix that tells us to hate ourselves, to limit ourselves, to belittle ourselves. Seth will come through and move things away and protect you. And best believe, y'all, that Seth is motherfucking dope. Then we got Osiris, who is Isis's man's. And Osiris is a little bit of everything. Osiris rules the underworld, but before that, he was the god of vegetation. So that's why he got the green skin. And we got to remember, from the underworld is where crops grow. From the soil of the dead is where trees and things grow. So life and death are intrinsically connected. The same way Osiris represents the connection between life and death and how they're both one in some aspects, and in some regards, Osiris is a diplomat as well. Then we got Pitta. Pitta is seen as the opener of the crossroads, the doorways. He can be kind of similar to Papa Legba and Elegua in other paths. He is the one who has the keys, who holds the keys. He is the one who opens doorways. So if your doors are closed, you go to Pitta. Pitta is also a funny guy, a wise guy, cracks jokes, is a good motherfucking time. Now we got Ma'at. Ma'at is justice. Ma'at is the scales. Ma'at is about law and the universal laws to follow. There are the 42 laws of Ma'at. I noticed that people who have Ma'at come to them as a spirit guide usually more or less have anger issues or had anger issues in the past life. No shade. And in this life, they're meant to learn balance. Hey, we all come with something we need to learn, something within us that we have to master. So if you somebody who got Ma'at and you got anger issues within you, this is no shade. This is just confirming to you that yes, Ma'at is in your path for a reason. And the story goes that Ma'at has the scales, and the scales are placed when we pass away. And if a heart is weighed next to a feather, and if a heart is heavier than a feather, then we go to the underworld and we gotta deal with some stuff. So the purpose of life, according to Kemetics, is to live life with a lot of lightness as possible. That means having to forgive, having to accept, having to take away the burdens of the heart chakra. So if you are struggling with forgiveness, if you are struggling with acceptance of how people have wronged you, if you sometimes, you know, got a little bit of some revenge fantasies out there, okay, you want to come to Ma'at, you want to see the laws of Ma'at, you want to ask Ma'at for prayers of peace, prayers of compassion. And you know, I know Venus is seen as the energy of love and sweetness and harmony, but Venus also rules the scales. And Aztec cultures, they call upon Venus for war, because Venus also has the aspect of Libra, and Libra has the scales, and some of that is justice. So in the major arcana in tarot, in the Rider-Waite, justice has the scales and the sword, and that's love. Love is painful, and love is also harmonious. It's 2 in 1. In the same way, Ma'at is the representation of how, through this harmony of life, we have to find harmony within. Check out the 42 laws of Ma'at, y'all. And Ma'at works closely with Anubis, who is the god of the underworld, the god of death. Anubis is a guide who comes to those who are going to eventually work in necromancy, which is being able to speak to the dead, being able to speak to the ancestral realms. The ancestral realms and all the spirits of the dead that come forward. Anubis is a pretty serious dude, but kind of has a cool style. Pretty groovy. Again, some of these spirits, y'all, they're very intense. I'm not going to say it's always fun and easy to work with them. They push you to a higher standard of who you are. And Anubis is no exception, because he sees between life and death. So he pretty much like tells you what it is and helps you cut through all the human BS, especially when it comes to self-limitation, self-sabotaging beliefs, and things of that sort. Anubis is also good. If you're cool with him, you can figure out... Yo, my freaking Ankh keeps falling. But if you want to figure out part of your karmic contract, your soul contract, figure out how to be cool with Anubis. You'll be able to see some stuff. I'm being told you can also do a ritual with Black Obsidian, calling upon Anubis, prayers to Anubis, to be able to activate Black Obsidian for him, because Anubis is the underworld. Anubis can show you a lot about what goes on in the underworld. We got a few other spirits. So going into the underworld in Egyptian culture is called the Duat. The Duat is seen as where we go on this boat, and Ra goes every single night. So Ra is the sun. When the sun goes down, he has to go through the underworld and has to fight his demons, in the same way that we have periods where we feel in joy, we feel in bliss, we feel celebrated. And then there's times where we gotta fight our own inner demons and demons of the outside world that are really just reflections of our own inner struggles. All outer struggles are a reflection of inner struggles. So what happens with Ma'at and Anubis is Anubis and Ma'at work closely together. And if your heart is weighed heavier than a feather, then you got to deal with Amit. Amit is seen as this crocodile-like monster. I think Amit is freaking cool. I personally love her. I think she's a badass. I think she's more than just a destroyer. So is Seth. I think that these beings are more than just these one-dimensional things. And that's one thing I'm going to say. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it's important to have your own relationships with these beings and not just fully believe what is said in text, what is said in narratives, because some of these narratives are a little bit patriarchal. There were times where I've had visions and downloads where I saw where people were fighting over which god was better than which Egyptian god. And it's like, they're all together. They're all aspects of nature. That's like saying like air is more important than water. Earth is more important than fire. Sun is more important than night. They're all freaking important. Without one, we don't have harmony, okay? So Amit is here to just really be that energy of justice. That energy of what happens when people are harmful, when people choose chaos, when people choose chaos and harm toward others. Amit is the underworld, the representation of those consequences. Now for the lunar aspect, we have the lunar deity Kohanto. Kohanto is seen as the god of the moon. He is a protector of the night. Also speaks a little bit in riddles, shows you a lot about magic. Kohanto can... I'm hearing you can use silver because silver is a lunar energy. Gold is a solar energy. You can pray with silver in the night. Ask Kohanto to charge it and show you higher illuminations within your subconscious. Calling upon him, yo. Alright, y'all. And then we got the felines. So I talked a little bit about Sekhmet. Sekhmet is the energy of the sun and Mars. Sekhmet is here to tell you... Sekhmet come like that, like a siren. Sekhmet is here to tell you stop BSing yourself. You're a warrior. She don't like when people are stagnant. She don't like when people give up their freedom or their power for anybody or anything. So if you ever feel like you stuck, or you feel like somebody's trying to put you in bondage, a situation of bondage, manipulation, or control, call upon Sekhmet to break away those chains. Carnelian is a good stone to use to evoke Sekhmet. In the Book of Doors card, we have Sekhmet here, and you see the people falling out of place. She's all like, I'm in my throne. I'm in my throne and I'm chilling, so you're not going to take me out. There's a lot more deities that I'm not going to get to because I would be here for hours. There's a lot of Egyptian deities. There's also the primordials. There's a lot of them. Again, if you start seeing Egyptian deities, I really recommend y'all looking it up because they don't come to nobody for no reason. They come here to remind you of your highest truth, your highest being, and your highest potential. The last one that we got is... Bastet, who I freaking love. Bastet is seen with the sistrum here. She's all about music. She's all about dance. She's all about play. She's all about pleasure. People say that Sekhmet and Bast are the same. I kind of feel like they're different, but you know, to each their own. We all connect to these beings differently, so I'm not going to fight over what's right and what's wrong. Sekhmet's about warriorship, about fighting for stuff. She also likes beer offerings. Bastet can fight. Bastet is very protective, but she is about exuding sexuality, sensuality, being that sexy feline, but doing so from a place of self-honorance, of self-pleasure, and self-love. She really loves sistrum. She really loves dance. She really loves music. And yeah, that's her. Offerings you can give her is pink candles, pink flowers, catnip, and macaroons, and a lot of sweets. I should have done the offerings thing, but hey, the spirits that said what that they wanted to say, what offerings they wanted, said it. So that's really it. That's all I got on Egyptian spirits. Again, they're not easy spirits to work with. I don't think that a spirit should be easy to work with, to be honest, because they're teachers. And teachers are here to remind us of what our truest potential is. So sometimes they're going to push us beyond the limits that we place for ourselves. Sometimes they're going to say, yo, see yourself as higher than, aim higher for yourself. And that's why they're here, y'all. So I'm going to put the links down in the book below. If y'all have questions, y'all want to talk more about this Egyptian stuff, then let's do so. I'll probably make more videos about this, but I just want to do a quick rundown for you all. Stay blessed, stay beautiful, and stay great. May the Neteru watch over you, guide you, and be with you. Ashe.